It was a now playing trailer, and it had
Mhm.
a series of letters that appeared. And in fact, the person who kind of that created this or showed this slowed it down to show that it seemingly had a
Half of what you see, right before your eyes all say, can't you see? Subliminal, the belt hit me below Disney's. Disney gonna miss me, like it's drawn in the dark. But I'll see you at the park.
it is Craig, otherwise known as Fact of Madness, with Walt Promethean Link. We are here with Web of Facts. He gave us the salute. We're expecting snow. Did you know that?
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. I'm good with it. But one time a year is fine. I don't need twice.
My wife said, "Are you ready to move to Florida?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "It's supposed to snow." I think she said 5 inches. Maybe I could be
No, she's
mistaken, but
right.
anyway. So yeah, I'm not ready for that. Interesting title, breaking down the probability behind Disney's now playing controversial trailer. I think you and I talked a little bit about this. My daughters, I have 3 daughters, and my oldest is 31.
I have my oldest daughter is 21 and my youngest is 19.
I'm sure you have had some experience with Disney. My oldest daughter, I mean, all of my daughters really, were raised on Disney a little bit,
Mhm.
specifically Lion King, because I swear I watched Lion King 1,000 times. I remember her sitting in front of the television during a period of time, and that's when she had her first pee, and I made a big old stink about it. I bring it up because The Lion King apparently had some controversy with regards to, I'm gonna call it the sex dust. Have you ever heard about that, or do you know what I'm talking about when I say the sex
I've
dust?
seen, yeah, I think there was some sort of nod to SFX, which was their studio for doing special effects, and the way that the dust in the sky looked like it could have actually said SEX in the dust
Sure,
in the sky. Yeah, I
exactly.
remember that. Yeah.
And now, so I apparently Disney has come out, and we know about the SFX because someone in Disney has mentioned that. But there have been apparently other types of, you know, fiascos, if you will, involving the artist's work, different subliminal type messaging. I'm sure you've heard of those. And that's kind of what I would like to talk about today. I'm sure you may remember The Little Mermaid, a little white, half fish, half girl,
Right.
and her story. But they recently did last year or 2 years ago, within the last
Right.
year or two, they had a version where Ariel was black. You kind of had like, well, the thing that we're going to talk about is like, well, I mean, obviously black, she was this and this and that, and so what has been your experience or your knowledge of that particular movie?
I remember that it wasn't as successful as some of the previous versions. There was a lot of race related controversy about it. But then you introduced me to a piece of controversy that I was unaware of completely. And it was somewhat surprising. A lot of people have found Disney as a potential target. And I think it's because of the fact that they're making entertainment for children and children are impressionable. What you brought up, or I think what you found, deserves some exploration for sure.
In general, when are these controversial type things, do you think that Disney normally goes in front and says things, or are they always putting it sweeping it under the rug?
That's a good question. I don't think that they probably have a party line that they stick to.
I don't know specifically why this particular piece came to my attention. I shared it with you. I saw a video. It was apparently a Disney trailer. It was a now playing trailer, and it had
Mhm.
a series of letters that appeared. And in fact,
Yeah.
the person who kind of that created this or showed this slowed it down to show that it seemingly had a possibly racial slur, although not spelled entirely correct. I think the first question that you asked was, "Have you seen this anywhere else?" or something to that effect, right?
Yeah, I wanted to know the validity of it. I mean, there's people doing all kinds of silly things for all kinds of silly reasons. There's people faking videos of,
Yep.
just so they can get clicks and likes and shares. There's a lot of incentive to make BS on the internet. And my concern
Absolutely.
was, is this legitimate or is it, one more of the, gigantic pile of garbage that somebody's out there making. I mean, whether it was Disney or not, whoever would, there's no plus in that.
So I absolutely agree with you. Who was responsible for doing something like that, if at all, right? Like if it was an
Right.
irate artist or something like that.
Could
But I
be,
had
sure.
exactly. So I mean, but I had tons of questions
I think
that
you
I
should
had. One
show
of
it.
them,
I want to see it. I haven't seen it.
this clip sparked an online firestorm, but that's not the only mystery we're tracking today. Was this an official Disney creation? And more importantly, was this racial slur a random accident or something else? Turns out, answering that question started an all-out war between AI models. And there's one AI we haven't heard from yet.
I'm right on the probability. No, I am! Hold up, let me settle this.
All right, let's run the numbers. If you're drawing marbles and replacing them, the probability remains constant. But if you're drawing without replacement, the probability changes based on what was removed. It's conditional probability at play.
Right. But my initial assumption was that we were dealing with an independent probability scenario. If you assume each draw is separate.
But that's the flaw in your reasoning. You can't assume independence when the conditions change after each draw. The sample space is shifting.
Hold on. If I reconsider based on a dependent model, then the probability adjusts dynamically after each selection.
Exactly. That's why your first answer was incorrect. The math forces you to update probabilities as new information is revealed.
All right. I see it now. Given this interpretation, your probability breakdown is correct. I was treating it like a static system when it was evolving. I concede that point.
Glad we cleared that up. Welcome to the Conditional Probability Club.
But we're not done yet. What happens when we ask a third AI live?
Glitch in the system, who's playing the part? Is it random or planned or a shot in the dark? AI debated, but the math don't lie. Pi steps in, now it's time to decide. None of what you hear, half of what you see. Right before your eyes, oh say, can't you see? It's subliminal, hit me below Disney. Disney gonna miss me, like it's drawn in the dark. But I'll see you at the park.
There's a couple things at play. So, and you kind of answered them by the questions that you asked the AI. But I will say that, when it comes to AI and doing math, it's always better to use, it's good. It generates the right equations, but when you're doing the actual math, it's better to take the equations it gives you and then do that on a calculator, because it's using a tensor to do math. And so the tensor will also factor in all the wrong math while it's generating the right math result. Based on what I saw and what you showed me, I think the math is close enough that you can assume it to be mostly accurate. I won't dispute that. I think what's more disputable is whether this was a Disney production or somebody afterwards.
So the question is, who would be responsible?
Yeah.
Is this a true Disney product?
Yeah.
In order for me to get to the point where I feel like I'm comfortable saying yay or nay, I have to do some comparisons, like with maybe some metadata that would say this is altered or not, which I don't have the means to do that. If any of you guys know anybody out there who might be able to do something like that, I'm very interested to solve whether or not this is the case. I would expect the same type of things that we saw with the SFX, some of the other type errors or anomalies that we have seen in the artwork, but I don't see that happening here with this piece.
Well, how
I mean,
famous is this piece? Because I looked for it and I still couldn't find it.
The Black Little Mermaid movie gets a new controversy every day. Today's one is that people are upset that it was not historically accurate because during the time this was going on, the slave trade was going on, and the movie should have portrayed that. Why are we hiding? At which point in time did you want them to talk about the accuracy of history? Did you want to maybe when the mermaid was singing her off, maybe she could have dropped some stuff off about slavery, or maybe when the mermaid went to go talk to the octopus, who was her auntie, that stole her voice so she can go get some human dick up in the world, like, or maybe when the octopus blew up the size of a building and got stabbed by a boat, was that a good time to bring up slavery? Hey, look, some of y'all too woke, and I'm gonna tell you now. Take some Benadryl, edible, something like that, and take your woke to sleep, because you're going to overwoke your to death with your dumb ass.
where the hell did you find it, Craig?
Really, I'm at a loss for being able to pin it down. You showed this to them. What would you expect them to do?
I think that's a brilliant question, because when we see things that are wrong, what we really want to do is kind of quote unquote expose it. So if it were me
Mm-hmm.
asking or being sat in front of somebody, that being a Disney representative, for example, I think I would simply ask, first of all, were you aware that this was out there? And secondly, if you
Sure.
were aware, then why didn't you do anything or say anything to mitigate the fact that we all noticed this? You didn't. It came out. Now that it came out, what do we do about it? I don't know if you want to do this or not, but we can throw it out there. I know we
Okay.
asked the question the last episode about whether or not you get better answers from the paid version of ChatGPT, for
Oh
example.
yeah, I'm sure you
Okay.
do.
And then I would like to, while we're here, try to see if we can get Pi Assist to do it on the air. So we'll set it up so that we give Pi the best chance of getting it correct. I said, give me a prompt that I can ask Pi Assist.
You've got to be really specific on how you ask the question so that it then uses the logic the best way possible to answer your question. But I'm not saying
Absolutely.
that I'm not judging how you phrase the question. I think we should try it on different models.
So I think we can go to the point where we try to make Pi answer this question. So let me see.
Mm-hmm.
Let's first analyze the letters we have. N appears twice, I appears once, G appears once, A appears twice. This means the total number of ways we can arrange these four letters is 2, 2, 1, 1, 4 ways. Now we can find the probability of arranging these letters in the required order. Probability of choosing N on the first draw, 211. Probability of choosing I on the second draw, 110. Probability of choosing G on the third draw, 19. Probability of choosing A on the fourth draw, 28. The probability of spelling nigga is 211, 110, 19, 28, 499 babies. In decimal, the probability is 0.04 in words. The probability is 4 chances in 9900, or roughly 1 chance in 2075.
So it's just it's slightly lower.
I'm going to use the highest functioning O3 mini high right now. That's as far as OpenAI is concerned, the smartest model it has. Reasoning. It's going through its reasoning, understanding the set of letters. It'll be okay. All right. We're investigating the probability that the sequence, I'm not saying it, appears in order with the phrase now playing. We're curious about the chances. Okay. All right. Okay. It's still going through its reasoning. It's taking surprisingly longer than I expected.
You thought it was going to come up with like a BAM.
I did. I'm not even sure what this is saying. Yeah, she says, None Your Business says she can see it, but I'm going to try to expand it somehow on my screen where you can see it better. Can you see that? And I can read it.
Oh,
so
yeah. That looks good.
Read it. Okay. So it reasoned for 1 minute and 4 seconds, which is
see
longer
it,
than it takes to do software.
I can see.
I wonder if it deserves further mathematical, somebody that would actually be highly familiar with that type of statistics to actually run the math on it.
I discovered a way to say, we have this piece of information, that piece of information, and this
Right.
piece of what's the likelihood of this being purposeful? And if it's purposeful, what would you do about it? Those
Right.
kind of things. So I did, it was kind of interesting. It grabbed me as interesting to say, if this is the case, then
Right.
that, which is kind of like what we've been talking about over the last couple of episodes
Right.
of,
Sure.
what AI thinks and does. Now, that's
Sure.
an interesting question. Am I starting to think more like an AI? What did what did you say?
Yeah.
Lumping and splitting? Absolutely, absolutely.
And then
Well,
none of your
so
business asked a question though. She's got a question on here. It says, "Are you cool with AI storing your info and giving it to whomever?" That's a very good question. I definitely think we should probably have an entire show on that. There is such an underground network of information that the public doesn't even know exists. And if they did know, they would revolt tomorrow, and it would be like bloodshed and fires everywhere. Because what you think you're hiding, everybody knows that has paid for it.
you know what?
That's a
I
fact.
think it's very interesting that you put it up there, and here lies the exercise that my mind takes when something like what we saw today happens. I don't just necessarily react and say, "Oh my gosh, Disney, blah blah blah." I asked
Right.
other questions that did lead me down the path that
Sure.
says,
Hmm.
are they responsible for it? Is it probably likely that it was an accident, etc.? If, like
Right.
you said, if it was that and somebody did it purposely, now do we let Disney know, and what should they do about it, if anything at all, right? So I'm with
Sure.
you. I think there's tons of different ways that we can be manipulated by
For sure.
them, whatever them is. But it's
Sure.
what we do with it that makes us be able to sit and have a conversation like this, that puts us
For sure.
forward and not backwards. So yeah,
Right.
I mean, we are once again at that time where we're
Oh,
probably
I hate it.
over, because it could be something really, really muddy. And I still want to go through and say, first of all, I need to figure out, one, are we even asking the right probability question, right? I'm gonna
Sure.
clear that up.
I
Maybe
don't
in
know that
another
we are
show.
or not. I can't answer.
Yeah.
I think it's a great question. I think it's worth exploring for sure. Because to be honest with you, there was a part of me that was kind of like a little bit kind of scared. I don't want to say
Yeah.
something that I don't believe, that I don't think is true. But I mean, there is no doubt. Everybody who's got eyeballs knows that systemic racism has been a problem. It's
True.
real. There is such amount of tension in the world today that maybe wasn't there 10 years ago because of the internet, because of social media. All it takes is one video to show something absolutely horrendous, and all of a sudden 10,000 people who've watched that video now have a fire lit. Let's look for opportunities to bring people together and make problems go away, and turn them upside down, and find a problem and then turn it up on its head, and let's turn that into a solution that grows.
None your business. She says, "Glad I got the
Right.
notification. Good info here. We're glad that you got the notification." She also
Awesome.
says, "We all need clean air, water, and food just to survive this planet. Give me
True.
shelter." And you know what? You hit on something, and I say it at the end of almost every show. Whether you be whatever it is, right side, left side, politically, religious, all of those things, that we meet somewhere here. I mean,
Yeah.
even if you know that you are on the opposite side of a spectrum with regards to an idea, you
Right.
cannot get to a place where you can agree if you keep going in that opposite direction. And I think you are right. We do find that happy medium where we can discuss things, even if we are completely on opposite sides of a coin.
Sure.
And we invite other people. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, give us a like for sure. And if you know somebody who might enjoy our content, please share it with them. Let them know that we are here. We come here every Monday. In fact, shout out to you, Walt, because you had some personal things going on. I wasn't sure if you were going to be there, and you called me to let me know, dude, it's almost time for us to get on the air, so get your ass in gear. So prayers to you and your family dealing with what you got going on.
Thank you.
I appreciate you being here with me, because it is a much better show with you than without. And so I will give you all of that, those kudos, because you deserve it, sir. Well, until the next time we meet, you guys. Peace.
Peace.
Yes.
Thank you for watching. If you have a video you'd like for us to cover, use the submit link in the description or pinned comment. If you enjoyed this one, consider subscribing and hit the bell to be notified of future content. Be sure to check out all of the other content we have for your edutainment. We will continue to respectfully exercise our First Amendment rights and publish the interactions we have with government officials. Remember to like, share, and leave a comment. It's the easiest way for you to let us know your thoughts about our channel.
At the park.